Welcome back to the Mom and Kid Show. I am Daniel, one of the kids,
I'm Damian, the other kid.
And I'm Aracely, the mom,
and today we have our
Eighth Bible study.
covering chapters Genesis
42 through
Oh,
36.
dang it, I messed it up.
I mean 42 through 46.
What did he say?
42 to 36. He's going backwards.
Yeah.
42 to 46. And we're about to finish Genesis. We'll be finishing it soon.
By Bible study number 9, that should be the finishing episode.
Yeah. So it's been really good. We learned so much. And we're going to get right into it because it's really good. These 5 chapters were really, really good. I got a lot out of it. Well, not a lot, but like very interesting things. So up until now, 42 starts with Joseph's brothers go to Egypt. Up until now, we've seen Joseph. They put him in charge of all of Egypt, and we have the famine. It's all been good. They've had plenty, but now
The towns
they
are
don't
coming
have
to buy
plenty.
them.
So now they don't have food, and the other towns are going into Egypt because that's the only place that has food. Okay, so I am going to start off with 42 because I have 42. And 42, we have we have Jacob, and I guess like they're just sitting around and he's all like, hey, he looks at his kids and he's like, why are you guys looking at each other? Go get some food. Like, we're starving here.
So
I don't know why Jacob would tell the kids instead of the kids. I don't know. He's like, you guys go get food instead of him like.
Well, Jacob's old.
It don't matter. Like it's I'm gonna start doing them. Be like, you guys have to go figure your food out. And so he says, indeed, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down there so that you can get us some food, and we may live and not die. So I guess it's like they're really
starving. They
starving,
just realized
that they don't have food.
They just realized that they need food to survive.
So Joseph's 10 brothers.
Isn't it 11?
He has 11 brothers.
So he has 11, but the 10 brothers are the ones that go to Egypt. Benjamin, the youngest, stays with Jacob. And the sons, they journey to Egypt. And Joseph was a governor over all of the land. And so he sees them coming, but they obviously don't recognize him. But he recognizes them. And he's all like, where do you come from? And they're like, we come from the land of Canaan.
Canaan. We've said this word a bunch of times on the podcast.
It's still weird. Canaan.
It's Canaan.
To buy food. And so he kind of like, he's like, hey, you guys are spies. You guys came to see what's going on here. Yeah, I came here to spy.
How surprising that the spies spy.
He's like, you have come to see the nakedness of the land. And so they're like, in verse 10, they're like, no, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. And it says, we are all one man's sons. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies. And so I just found it interesting that he's like, honest men. And so if we're thinking from Joseph's viewpoint, you have the brothers coming, the brothers who sold him, who'd mistreated him, and they're in front of him saying, we're honest people. Like, and Joseph not saying anything at that point, like, I'd be like, you ain't. And so he's like, says, no, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land. So he's still accusing them. Verse 13, they're like, no, we're 12 brothers. One of them is with my father. The youngest is with my father, and one of them is no more. And Joseph continues saying, you're spies. And then he ends up, he's like, you know what? Go back home and bring me your younger brother. I'm going to keep one of your brothers here.
That's collateral.
And you go home, bring me the younger brother, and then I'll see that you guys are true. You're honest. And so he put them all in prison for 3 days. which I think the 3 comes again. You know, the number 3 appears again.
3.
Yes, every time you count, the
No,
third
but like
number is always 3.
And also it appeared whenever in verse 40, or not verse 40, but like chapter 40.
yeah, because we know that 3 is like
The strongest number.
it's whenever we've seen
Shapes.
change happen after
3 is not a shape.
the third day. And so then Joseph says in 18, whenever it's the third day, do this and live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house, but you go and carry grain for the famine of your houses. And bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die. And they did so. So they leave Reuben behind, who's the oldest, and they leave. And in the way, let me see. Oh, before they leave, they are all talking amongst each other, and they're like, we are truly guilty concerning our brother. So they remember what they did for their brother. That's verse 21.
They did bring back food though.
They did go, but before they leave back to their homes, like they're still, like, I guess they're still getting out of prison or whatever. It's right before they leave. And it says, we are truly guilty concerning our brother. So we see that for the first time they're talking about it. But it says, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not hear. Therefore, this distress has come upon us. And I think it was something that I took in. They're talking about Joseph and how he was pleading before, when we see them throw Joseph into the pit. We don't hear anything like it. We don't read anything about him, of how his reaction was. It just seems like he just stayed there. But now we see that it says, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us. So the brothers were there seeing Joseph plead. Okay, so, and then, Reuben says, he's like, didn't I tell you not to sell him? Like, not to sin against him? He's like, now blood is required of us. But they didn't know Joseph was standing there. They didn't know that he understood them. And so he cries. Joseph cries because of, remembering all of this. And it's still something that he carries. And so, never mind. They don't leave Reuben. They leave Simeon behind, and they leave. And so the brothers return to Daniel. Dije que los encerraran. Yo les dije, pero no entienden. So their brothers return to Canaan. And Joseph's like, where's the brother? Oh no, on their way back, they end up opening the grain and they find their money in there. And they're greatly afraid because they're like, what are they going to do to us? And so in verse 28, it says, my money has been restored, and there it is in my sack. Then their hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, what is this that God has done to us? So we see in verse 21 that it says we did something wrong. But then it changes to God is doing this to us. Why is God doing this to us? Like, and sometimes I don't know. I mean, I just thought that was different how their mind, their thinking changed from, it is us that did it too. Why is God doing this to us? So they're afraid, and they get home and they told Jacob what has happened, that that Joseph didn't believe him, that he kept one of the brothers, and that they told him that if he ever was to go back, or they needed to go back and take the younger brother to be able to prove that they were not spies. Um, and Jacob's like, I'm not gonna let you
Take him.
He's the youngest. So Benjamin and Joseph are the sons of Rachel. And that's why he really he really loved Rachel. And so that's why they're his favorites. So Benjamin is now his favorite. And so he's like, "No, you're not going to take him unless, I'm going to die." And so then they continue there. He ends up not letting them go. He's like, Jacob's like, "Nope, I'm not going to let you take him." And that's where 42 ends.
It's not right, is it?
Yeah.
Reuben says that
Well, he's like, let me go, and if anything happens to me, you can kill my two sons. But Jacob's like, no, I'm not letting you, because you're going to bring on more sorrow to the family. Like, if I let you,
Reuben. If
Yeah.
Reuben go, if he lets Benjamin go, then
no, if Reuben goes and doesn't bring
it Simeon?
Benjamin,
Wasn't it Simeon that was just staying there?
yes, Simeon's in jail. In the house, when they're like, we have to go back and take Benjamin, Jacob is like, no. And Reuben's like, kill my two sons if I do not bring him back to you. You put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you. And in verse 38, Jacob says, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If any calamity should befall him along the way of which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with sorrow to the grave.
okay.
So he's like, no, you're not going. I said so. And that's the end of it. That's the end of chapter 42. Who has 43? Daniel.
Okay, so 43. It's a little forward in time. They're running out of food, and they need to go back to Egypt.
Pause. Well, not pause, but that right there. Can you imagine? Simeon's in jail.
He's been waiting, like, guys, where are you?
For all this time until their grain is done, and they're like, oh, we have to go back for our brother now?
Oh, crap. Simeon.
Oh my gosh, we forgot him. Wait, what was his name?
Talk about
was it
family.
Simeon?
Like when you forget your baby. I can't relate because I don't have kids.
Okay, go.
All right, so they need to go back. The father says, "Go back, buy us a little food." And then Judah's like, "Well, we can't go back because unless we bring Benjamin." And he says that we will not see his face. And then Jacob says, "If you send who says this? I think it's still Judah. If you send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you will not send him, we will not go down. For the man has told us, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you." So they keep repeating this, like, you shall not see my face. You shall not see my face. You shall not see my face. And then Jacob's like, why did you make this deal? Why would you agree to this? Why would you tell him that you still have another brother? But they said, the man asked us pointedly about ourselves and our family, saying, is your father still alive? Have you another brother? And we told him, according to these words, could we possibly have known that he would say, bring your brother I cannot talk. Bring your brother down. Then Judah, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
Then Judah said to Israel, his father, send the lad with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones.
No, and just to think back, Jacob was also, when that incident happened with all the brothers, he was like, why do you do this to me? He's like always like, why? I don't know. I can imagine like they're trying to do the right thing, or like, but he's always like, why? Why are you doing this? Like, protect. I don't know. I guess just pointing it out.
Mm-hmm. And then Jacob says, oh no, Judah says, I'll make sure he's safe. Um, and then he's like, if we had not stayed here, surely we would have been back already. So Israel's like, okay, if it must be so, then do this. Take some of the best fruits of the land in your vessel and carry down a present for the man. A little balm, little honey, spices and myrrh, pistachio nuts, and almonds. Take double money in your hand and take back in your hand the money that was returned in the mouth of your sacks. Perhaps it was an oversight. So he's like, here, take this to make up for any like bad stuff that might have happened. Take him these gifts because he really loves Benjamin. He wants him to be back. Take your brother also, arise and go back to the man. And may God Almighty give you mercy before the man, that he may release your other brother and Benjamin. If I am bereaved, I am bereaved. So they took the presents and Benjamin, double the money, and they went to Egypt and they stood before Joseph. And then when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the stewardess of his house, take these men to my home and slaughter an animal and make ready, for these men will dine with me at noon. So he's setting up a nice dinner. And now the brothers, they were all scared. He's like, oh no, what's he gonna do to us in this house? He's gonna beat us up and make us slaves with donkeys. Um, when they drew near to the stewardess of Joseph's house, they talked. Steward, sorry. They talked with him at the door of the house and said, "Oh, sir, we indeed came down at the first time to buy food, but it happened when we came to the encampment that we opened our sacks, and there each man's money was in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight. So we have brought it back in our hand, and we have brought down other money in our hands to buy food. We do not know who put our money back in our sacks." But Joseph said, "Peace be with you," or no, the steward said, "Peace be with you. Do not be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. So the money just appeared out of nowhere, thin air. Okay, so then they go eat dinner with Joseph, and he asks them about their family, their father. He's like, "Is he still alive? Is he well? The old man of whom you spoke, is he still alive?" And they answered, "Your servant, our father, is in good health. He is still alive." And they bowed their heads down and prostrated themselves. Then he lifted his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son. And then he asked them, "Is this your other brother?" He said, "God be gracious to you, my son." Um, so now Joseph's heart was really like, it was torn apart. He was like, "These are my brothers. These are the ones who sold me." So he turns a corner and he goes somewhere to weep, crying. He's very sad. Lots of emotions, lots of confused emotions. Then he washed his face and he went back outside and he said, "Serve the bread." So they set him a place. So they set him a place by himself, and them by themselves, because the Egyptians can't eat with the Hebrews. That's an abomination. Um, and he gave, what's his name, Benjamin, 3 times, I think, the
Five
size,
times, I
five
believe.
times the serving size. He gave them a lot, very, very, very much. And they started to eat, and they drank. They drank and were merry with him. And I think it's very, you can see very clearly the difference between Joseph and his brothers, because Joseph, he was in jail. He was falsely accused. He was abandoned, sold, and he stayed faithful through all of it. And now these brothers, with their money, they have their money still. They don't think to thank God, rather to blame him, or they're scared. And Joseph's over here like, I'm in jail, I'm the leader of the jail. They're like, the brothers are like, I have money, I have money. So I think it's very, very, very visible.
Yeah, that is true. The difference between them. Um, Very good. I have a couple of things that I'll just add because uh I loved one of them a lot, but the other one was that when they were in Joseph's house, he gave them water and they washed their feet. And again, we see that washing of the feet. And so we have the brothers who feel guilty and are not guilty. They feel afraid of everything's going on. They're being called into the house of the governor of Egypt. And then all of a sudden they're washing their feet. They're giving them water. And so they're in their eyes are like, what's going on? Like, what's happening?
Imagine what went through Joseph's brain to like just once they, after all they've done, still treating them right.
Yeah. Yeah. And also feeding the donkey. So they were good hosts.
Hostess.
Hostesses.
Hosts.
And something else that really caught my attention is verse 32. And so 32 says, so they set him a place by himself, and them by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate with them by themselves, because the Egyptians could not eat with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination to the Egyptians. So we have the brothers who are confused of what's going on, come into, they know that Joseph is a governor of Egypt, but they get there and then they see that they're sitting aparte. Joseph, who is the governor of Egypt, sits by himself, and then the Egyptians sit by themselves.
Yeah.
So they see that first they're like, oh, this guy is really powerful, but then they're like, what's going on? Why is he sitting by himself? Why are they not accepting? And in looking into this a little bit more, it's interesting to think that he helped Egypt so much. He grew up, or the rest of after he was sold, as an Egyptian, but he was never really accepted as an Egyptian. And he was a Hebrew, but yet he could not relate to them. He was not connected, or he was not of them as well. And how many times in life do we feel like we don't fit in? Like, and I will say this from a Hispanic. I was born in Mexico, raised here. And I find it really hard to be able to relate to a lot of people from Mexico, because I wasn't raised there to have like that to be able to understand a lot of things that happen in Mexico. But I also don't, because I was raised in a Hispanic household, I also didn't grow up with people with the Americans. Like, it was not, so it's always been like that, of not that struggle of finding that place. And I just thought that was really interesting how the Bible points it out, that that Joseph is here not fitting in with people that he is from, or the people that he's been with. And his brothers see that, and his brothers get that glimpse of, just before he tells them who he is, they get that glimpse of, hey, this guy has gone through something. Like, afterwards they probably like, oh my goodness, Joseph, yeah, he's on this power, but he's had to deal with a lot of things to be able to be in this power. And the question is, how do you remain who you are while operating in places where you don't belong? So anyways, I just had to point that out because I thought that was really, really, really cool.
That is very cool.
That was very interesting.
Okay, who has 44?
I do.
All right, Daniel. No, you don't. I
It's
have
No, I
her.
don't.
I have 44. Okay, so 44 we have, so Joseph still has not told him who he is. And he's like, fill the men's sack with food as much as they can carry and put each man's money in the mouth of his sack. He's like, but also put the cup, my silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest and his grain money. So they did that, and then the brothers leave, and then Joseph sends his people to go get them, and because he's like, hey, they've stole something. And so Joseph's people go and get the brothers, and they're like, hey, why have you stolen? We've been good to you guys. And they're like, no, we haven't. Like, let the one that search us and let the one that has it be killed. And so they start searching all the things, and they end up finding the silver cup in Benjamin's sack. So they go back, and Joseph's like, why did you do this? And they're like, you know what, what can we tell you? Like, we don't know how this happened, but we didn't do much.
We are sorry.
And so he's like, let me see. He's like, how do we clear our name? Like, we didn't do this. And Judah's the one speaking up. And Joseph's like, far be from it that I should do so. The man in whose hand the cup was found, he shall be my slave. And as for you, go in peace to your father. So he's like, I'm going to keep Benjamin. He's going to be my slave, and you guys go over there. And so Judah intercedes for Benjamin. Judah, if we remember, Judah is the one that sold Joseph. And so now he's interceding for Benjamin. He's like, no, he's like, please, he starts telling him the story. He's like, please, my father is an old man, and he is and this is his child, his favorite child, and if we don't return with them, he's going to end up dying. So he's like, please take that into consideration, and I'll stay here. Take me instead of my brother. And Joseph's like, let me see. He repeats everything that his dad told him. Verse 33 says, now therefore, please let your servant remain instead of the lad as a slave up to my lord, and let the lad go with my brothers. For how shall I go up to my father if the lad is not with me, lest perhaps I see the evil that would come upon my father? So we see that transformation in Judah. Judah is the one that sold him, and now we see him stepping up. But what's in the couple of things that I saw that were interesting is, Joseph doesn't really want to accuse him or wants to do harm to them. He wants to see if they have really changed. They're saying they're honest men, but he's like, okay, let me see if they really are honest. And he puts a silver cup in their bag, resembling the silver coins that he was sold for. So he's like, they sold me for silver. Let's see if now they'll leave their brother behind for silver. What if they'll just leave Benjamin and leave? And he chose Benjamin because he knew that Benjamin had been the one to replace him. So
I think what's also weird is the way that they treat Benjamin compared to the way they treated Joseph.
yeah.
Because they were jealous of Joseph, but you don't see
So
them.
yeah.
They don't. You
Now
don't
the
see them.
same person that sold Joseph
Wants
is
to
now
protect.
the other
Benjamin.
favorite son.
Yeah, so they know. So Joseph is thinking is like, hey, if they didn't really like me, and so they must not like, so they must, maybe they treat Benjamin the same way, and if their hearts are still the same, then I'm going to do
Bad things.
something about it. But let
And
me see what.
also, I believe, it does. He has given them time to change because I believe this was like maybe 9 years after.
Couple years.
Well, in the next verse, it would be 9 years after he was sold, or maybe 10. I don't know, but it's around there.
Where does it say that?
Because in the next verse, or I'll just say it in the next chapter.
Yeah, Damon has chapter 45. Just one more thing before we jump to chapter 45 is that whenever we're under pressure, just like Judah and Benjamin and all the brothers were under pressure at that time, it's whenever it will reveal old patterns. So if you say I've changed, I've changed, I've changed, I don't get scared because of money. I don't get scared, and I'll just relate it to money. I don't get scared because of money, and then you're under pressure and you're having to pay bills, and you're not seeing that amount in your bank account. Those thoughts do come back, or that's whenever you can test to see, did I really change, or is it I'm still the same person? And here the brothers, under pressure would have been like, okay, one of them's they're dealing with a very severe crime, having stolen the cup of the governor. And if they can really sustain themselves, then that's what Joseph is looking for. So keep that in mind whenever you realize who, or your thinking it's like under pressure, it's whenever it's going to be revealed if you can actually carry all that or not.
If you crumble cookies.
So that was 44. Let's jump to 45.
Damian has 45.
So first, I'm gonna answer your question, which is like, how do I know that it's at least 9 years?
Mhm.
Which is because it says that in this verse, it says that the famine, or in one of these verses, I'm not sure which one, the chapters, it says that it's 5 years left of the famine.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's been 9 years since the.
Well, it's 9 years since it started, but we don't know how long he was in jail. He was in jail for 2 years.
That's why I said at least
And
9
then
years.
before that, I don't know how many years he was in the house.
Well, that's why I said at least 9 years.
Yeah.
So he's giving them time to change. But now on to verse 45. So,
Chapter 40.
or chapter 45. I keep saying verse. So, it starts off with Joseph, like, he's in the house of Pharaoh. And it starts off with them just not being able to restrain himself. So he just said, like, everyone go away from me. And he just starts crying right there. And it starts crying because, like, it's just like his emotional dam breaking. Like all the years of
I like
build
that.
up.
Emotional dam.
All the years of build up. And then he just lets it out right there. And yeah, that's how it starts off. And then he like reveals to his brothers that it was him, Joseph, one of their brothers, the one they sold. And he was asking, like, how's my father? Does he still live? And yeah, and then he's just revealing. And I think it's really cool how he says, like, they try to do bad with him, like they try to sell him, but they ended up kind of like making something good, or God changed the way it was going. He made it from he got sold to he's saving all of Egypt. So I think that's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
He's just like, he's now, because his brother sold him, the savior of the world. Not really the savior of the world, but
Of that area.
yeah. So yeah. And then he says,
Well, he preserves the lion because he's there, he can now protect his give food to his family and
No, but
well, all of y'all.
and kind of all of the world because he was selling the food also to other places.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, here it says, or a bit before that, it says, in verse 6, it says the famine, for there's still 5 years left. And then he says, he says, wait a minute, I'm so lost. Well, my notes are that after he reveals and all of that, he's just they're kind of just having like, I'm not sure if it's a good kind of family reunion.
Like a moment.
Yeah, they're just having a moment. And then after a while, he gives gifts to everybody, or gives like food to them. And because he wants them to survive, he doesn't want them to die. I mean, even after everything, I think that's still pretty cool how he's just like, after everything he's done, he's still very nice to his brothers and family. So yeah, he gives them gifts for to take to his father and their family and all of that city. And yeah.
And do they go back? I think they still go back on your chapter, right?
Yeah, they go back with the gifts and everything. So yeah, that's verse or not verse. Chapter 45.
And I have some notes I took down for
You,
chapter 45.
you may now state them.
Okay, thank you. Chapter 45, yes, Joseph says, he reveals himself to his brothers and he's like, I am Joseph. But then he says, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. And he says, verse 5, but now do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves, because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. And we can see how regulated Joseph is, regardless of the stuff, because he doesn't say, let's forget about it. He actually points out what happened. He's like, you did this. At first, he's like, you sold me into Egypt.
It's
like,
all your fault.
He doesn't. That's the thing. He doesn't say it. He's like, this is what happened. You sold me into Egypt. But then he's like, but also don't be grieved. He's like, cause and I broke that verse down, and it's do not be grieved. He doesn't want his brothers to live in shame, to live in self-condemnation or regret. He's like, don't do that. He's like, this is the reality. You sold me into Egypt. You took me away from the family, everything, but this is the reality. And then he's like, don't be angry. He's like, don't torment yourself, don't consume. He's like, because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. So he's like, this is the reality, but this is also the reality that I needed to be here. And, because of this, now I'm able to do this other thing. And it's very few people who will be able to say this to kind of like not be the victim and not blame, but state what it is. And he's also letting his brothers know, like I can still remember it. I'm not gonna forget it. But it's also not carrying any emotional weight anymore.
I feel like the devil tried to make it bad, but I feel like it got. I don't know how I would put this. I feel like it's just like
God turned the bad to the good.
like there's movies where like there's like bad like supervillains, and they're trying to do bad to the world, but like no matter what they say, the just superhero just turns it around on them.
Like they throw ice cream at your face, but you have your mouth open because you're yawning and
Yeah.
you eat it.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, and so verse 8, he says, God sent me. He's like, it was not you at the end. It was God who sent me here. Removing that blame and, giving all the plans to God. Um, and how does it, can you imagine just how liberating it is if you're facing a situation to say, or someone did something to you, someone stole, someone hasn't, paid you, someone owes, or someone betrayed you, or someone like did
Said
something
something.
to you, and just to say, it's not you that did that to me, it's God. God has other bigger plans for me. Like God has something else that he wants me to learn from it, and just how much weight it takes off. And then the last thing I have is verse 26, where it says Jacob's heart stood still. So the brothers are talking to Jacob and telling him, hey, our brother is still alive. And he didn't believe him. He's hearing this information, but he's not believing it. And it's not until he sees the gifts and everything coming that he's like, this is really happening. And so sometimes truth comes and we don't believe it until we see it come to exist. And that was 40. That's what I had for 45.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
46. Who has
I
46?
think life is like a mountain, like a hike. Because when you start, you're looking at the mountain. It looks all messed up. It's like while you're going through it. Then you get to the top, and you turn around, and you realize it wasn't bad at all. It was all worth it. Everything
Yeah.
happened for a reason. Every step you took. Okay, so 46. So Pharaoh. No. Joseph told his brothers to bring his father, and that the Pharaoh would give him like the best land. So Israel took his journey with that, and he headed to he came to Beersheba, and then he like a sacrifice to the God of his father Isaac. So like God, and then God, after chapters of not hearing him, since like the last episode we haven't heard from him, he speaks to Jacob, and the visions of the night, and he said, Jacob, Jacob. He said, here I am. So he said, I am. So he said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not fear to go down to Egypt, for I will make of you a great nation there. So Jacob's like contemplating. He doesn't really know if he should go. He's kind of nervous. He's like, what if they don't like me? Um, but then he hears God, and he's like, okay. God says, I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also surely bring you up again. And Joseph will put you in his hand on your eyes. So then Jacob arose from Beersheba, and his sons carried him to. He carried their father, and their little ones, their wives. They took them all in the carts of Pharaoh, and that Pharaoh had given to them. And so they took their livestock, their goods, um, like their food and everything. His sons and daughters and all the descendants he brought with them to Egypt. And then it just gives us all the names of the kids and the descendants. So if you want to go read that, that's Genesis chapter 46, verses 8 through
27?
20.
Or no,
No, 22, 20.
30. No,
No, it's not.
29?
25.
25.
Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then they start heading to Goshen. And Jacob settles in Goshen. Goshen like the ocean. And then so Jacob, Israel, he fell on his neck, and he cried about it for a little bit. and he cried because his neck hurt. I mean, if you fall on your neck, yeah, he did.
What verse you're talking about?
29.
Verse 29. No.
Oh no, Joseph fell on his neck.
Yeah,
Oh.
because they were crying.
Yeah, and he cried. And Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen your face, because you're still alive." So he's like, okay, I saw you. Goodbye. Good.
He did not say it in that tone.
Well, I mean, he probably did. You don't know. Maybe Joseph wasn't that handsome after all. Then Joseph said to his brothers, "I will go up and tell Pharaoh and say to him, my brothers and those of my father's house who were in the land of Canaan have come to me, and the men are shepherds, for their occupation has been to feed livestock, and they have brought their flocks, their herd, and all that they have. So it shall be when Pharaoh calls you and says, 'What is your occupation?' that you shall say, 'Your servant's occupation has been with livestock from our youth even till now, both we and also our fathers, that we may dwell in the land of Goshen, for every shepherd is an abomination to the Egyptians.'" So the Egyptians, again, they can't kind of like be with shepherds. So they don't, like, they're not in downtown Egypt where everything's going on. They're more in the fields and like tending to their sheep. And that's where it ends. So they're now in, Jacob's finally at peace. He's seen his son. It's no longer sad. Benjamin got demoted, and now he has a place in Goshen. They have good land. They have all their food. They know that their brother doesn't like. They don't have to carry that guilt anymore, and they had a nice family reunion. So it's a pretty happy ending after all this jail and sold and famine. The famine's still going on, but now they have
But they'll
food
be good because
Well,
because Joseph's
Joseph
smart.
has.
We'll see if it still ends like Genesis still ends good.
Oh yes,
Wait,
we're
I have
almost
40. I have
done.
stuff for 46.
Okay, go ahead.
So 46 says, so Israel took his journey. It starts with so Israel, right? Then in verse 2 it says, and God spoke to Israel in the visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. So it says Israel, and we know that God named Jacob Israel now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to see that it says, then God spoke to Israel in the visions of the night, and he said, Jacob, Jacob. Not Israel, Israel. It said Jacob, Jacob. And Jacob's like, here I am. And we see that when there is here I am, is a transit, something's about to happen and change.
And also something that like hasn't been seen a lot is that Israel is called Israel.
Yeah, at the bottom of one of my pages, it says that sometimes it calls Israel Jacob and Jacob Israel, depending on his state of like mind, I think, or state of being.
So upon looking further, Israel is whenever he's referring to the assignment, and Jacob is when he's referring to the person.
Assignment is
they're moving, the nation's moving into Egypt.
and
It's
so it's like him and his family.
the prophecy,
Mm,
what needs to happen, and Jacob is the actual
so
person.
he is Israel, like the land of Israel eventually will come
Yeah,
from.
and so many people become identified. We relate it to our lives with the business owner, with the leader, with the parents, with the son, with the student. And beneath all of it, it's the person. It's not the leader that creates all the stuff. It's not the parent that leads the family. It's still a person. And we need to come to remember that. So I thought that was interesting. That he makes that distinction in the same verse. He's like, I'm talking to Israel, but hey, Jacob, Jacob, like. And then it says in verse 3, so he said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not fear to go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation there. And so Jacob's going to Egypt. We can gather from this information that Jacob is afraid. Because God's like, don't be afraid. And I was like, why afraid? And if we remember Abraham, when there was a famine, where did he go?
Egypt.
Yes. And Isaac, when there was a famine, where did he want to go?
Egypt.
And what did God say? Don't go there. Isaac, you're staying here. Don't go. And so now we have Jacob. There's a famine. Where is he headed to?
Egypt.
Egypt. So maybe in his mind, he's like, am I doing the right thing? Am I following this promise? Am I, like, I'm leaving the promised land, and now I'm going to Egypt. Like, there's all of that going on in his head. And so why Egypt? Like, if we see it from the point of view, like, this is where they were the promised land, they're going back, and it's because Egypt, right now there's only 70 people in the family. And it says, I will make you a great nation there in Egypt. And so there's 70 people traveling to Egypt. And Egypt provided food. It provided the time, the protection that they needed to become a great nation. So it was until it was in Egypt that they did this. And I have a note here. Sometimes God moves people away from the final destination to prepare them for it. And so we see them, they go into Egypt. And at the end, towards the end, when you were talking about how it's an abomination to the Egyptians that they were shepherds. But Joseph, remember, Joseph can see things that people cannot see right in front of him. Like he sees a problem, but he sees the bigger picture. And so he's here, his family is here in Goshen, and he tells them, "Hey, I know the rules of Egypt. I know what they don't like, and I know what they think. Tell them we're shepherds. Tell them that that's what we do for a living." He's like, because it's an abomination to Egypt, to the Egyptians. And what does that mean? They're going to let you be. They're not going to let you be in Egypt. They're not going to let you get into that culture, because he wants his family, his culture to stay the same, to not lose that. And if they had said, you know what, no, we're not shepherds, we're going to go with we're going to follow the rules of Egypt, then they would have lost all of what Israel was.
Let her cook now.
But no, he keeps that there. And so Joseph understands that Egypt is provision, not home. So he understands that we're just going to be here for a moment. This is not our final destination. So that's what I have for chapter 46.
Very, very good. Very good.
Very good. Tasty almost.
Tasty.
That smells so good.
Yeah, it's getting good. I think there's so much to the Bible that we can really...
I can't wait to get to the New Testament. Or like to Moses, or like to these other things.
We're about to
We're
get to
about
Exodus.
to. We're about to finish Genesis and go into Exodus. So if you've been following us, tell us what you think of our interpretations, what you have interpreted from it.
And if you have like anything like we missed, like oh my gosh moment, like comment down
below.
Share it,
Comment
subscribe,
Like, follow.
and go listen to our episodes on money and business.
and make sure to
And-
watch the first Bible studies if you haven't watched those.
Check out our website, faithmoneyfamilies.com. You get premium resources.
And go check our actual podcast, not the Bible study, the podcast.
The
also.
Mom and Kid Show. All right, well, from the comfort of our living room with two cats on the ground just laying in front of us, this has been very fun. Very intellectually honest. Thank you for watching. This has been the Mom and Kid Show. And we will see you
At the table.